What if the most powerful leaders in history weren't the loudest, but the most strategic? What if the people who changed the world didn't dominate rooms with charisma, but quietly redesigned reality behind the scenes? We've been taught to associate leadership with energy, presence, and performance. But history tells a different story, a quieter one. Isaac Newton, Marie Curie, Elon Musk. Different centuries, different industries, different personalities, but the same pattern: isolation, foresight, structural redesign. They weren't chasing applause. They were building frameworks, and frameworks outlast applause. Let's break this down. Isaac Newton didn't debate physics publicly to win arguments. He disappeared for years and emerged with laws that redefined motion and gravity. Marie Curie didn't build popularity. She built a scientific foundation so solid that entire industries emerged from her work. Elon Musk didn't simply start companies. He vertically integrated industries, energy, space, transportation by redesigning supply chains and incentives from the inside out. Notice something? They weren't competing inside existing systems. They were redesigning them. That's classic INTJ architecture. INTJs don't think in moments. They think in structures. They don't ask, how do I win here? They ask, how do I rebuild this so winning becomes automatic? That's a completely different level of thinking. Research in cognitive psychology shows that individuals high in long-term modeling and systems thinking rely heavily on executive function networks in the brain. That kind of cognition favors planning over reacting. That's the INTJ advantage. They tolerate isolation because they're not fueled by immediate feedback. They don't need consensus because they don't outsource conviction. They're willing to be misunderstood in the short term because they're optimizing for the long term. And here's the uncomfortable truth. While charismatic leaders depend on attention, strategic leaders depend on architecture. One fades when the spotlight shifts. The other remains embedded in infrastructure. That's influence at a deeper level. If you've ever felt overlooked because you weren't the loudest, if you've ever been underestimated because you weren't performing, if you've ever thought, I don't need attention, I need leverage, you're not behind. You're building. And builders always look slower until the structure is complete. Strategy over spotlight. Because history doesn't just remember personalities, it remembers architects. And architects don't shout. They design. For more INTJ insights, check out INTJ Power.